So I'm going to start this story going back about 30 years, and when to the great despair of my wife and I, our 15-year-old was a big fan of WrestleMania, professional wrestling. I don't know if any of you guys have gone through such suffering, but anyway, for his birthday, for no good reason I could think of, my wife walks in the door with 2 tickets to WrestleMania, which was in Hartford that year. And wonderingly, I asked her, "You're going to take him to WrestleMania?" She said, "No, you are." And so it was, the night of WrestleMania in Hartford. It was Daniel and Dad and 16,000 of our closest friends shrieking and cheering as these huge behemoths jumped around the ring like acrobats and poleaxed each other in a way that you would have to be sure they were going to go to the hospital. But, oh no, you know how that goes. They all had to pack it up and do the same show 10 days later in Baltimore or Atlanta. One of the acts of the evening, though, that really caught my eye was the backstory to Hacksaw Jim Duggan was that he was a Kentucky boy. And he walked into the ring, and the introduction, he was holding the American flag in his hand high and a 2x4 over his shoulder. And he came in, and we were the whole Coliseum was singing, "We're proud to be American, God bless the USA." And Hacksaw Jim's opponent that night was the Iron Sheik, all dressed up in an Arab headgear, but he was supposed to be from Iran, which was right up there on America's list of enemies. And everybody booed. And then the bout commenced. And at first, it was looking just awful for Hacksaw Jim. The Iron Sheik was cheating every chance he got. He was rubbing chalk dust into Jim's eyes that Jim couldn't see. He was doing chokeholds on Jim, and the ref would kind of count to 2, and then he'd let him go. Jim was just having a terrible time of it. But then, by sheerest coincidence, Hacksaw Jim got a hold of the 2x4. And then things changed. Then it was the Iron Sheik that was stepping back in terror, and old Hacksaw was smacking him with the 2x4, and the bout ended when Hacksaw Jim grabbed the Iron Sheik and he threw him right out of the ring onto an 8-foot folding table that, by sheer coincidence, somebody had just left on the side of the ring. The poor Iron Sheik had to be helped back to the dressing room, and Jim was in the center of the ring with the American flag and the 2x4, and we were all singing, "God bless the USA." What had occurred to me right then is that as comical as the spectacle we had just witnessed, it was some version of what is known as the hero epic. In the hero epic, you could go all the way back to Gilgamesh, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, medieval morality plays, even the Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen. And in the hero epic, the hero is seriously challenged by the forces of evil, frequently beyond their control. And they go through many challenges, and by dint of wit and luck and pluck, the hero comes through. And, very satisfyingly, the evildoers get what's coming to them. And that's why today's readings are very distinctly dissatisfying to us. Joseph's brothers have really been mean to him. They've been jealous of him. They take him, they strip him, they throw him into a pit, and then they sell him off to become a slave in Egypt. Then they pour blood on this beautiful coat that Jacob had given Joseph and told his father he was dead. Mean guys. And at the end, do they get their comeuppance? Do they get what they deserve, what they have coming? No. Joseph pours out the love of a forgiving heart. And this is held up to us. The same theme flows through that gospel, which I deliberately read slowly so the words could sink in. Can you imagine? Imagine somebody who gives you a smack or grabs your clothes to take them away. Hacksaw Jim would know what to do. He'd smack that person with a 2x4. Jesus says, no. If somebody smacks you, give them your other cheek. If someone grabs your coat, give them your shirt. If someone reduces you to servitude and drags you a mile, go the extra mile. It is beyond all understanding. That level of forgiveness is so challenging. You know, so far in Luke's gospel, the more Jesus heals, the more popular he becomes. But the more Jesus teaches, the less popular he becomes. Because these sayings are so challenging, so radical, so unbelievable. Do evildoers get what they deserve in Jesus' gospel, in Luke's gospel? And the answer is no. The prodigal son, we'll hear later, goes off, spends half his father's fortune, becomes a complete wastrel. Does he get what he deserves? No. Levi and Zacchaeus, tax collectors, in support of the Romans who were occupying the land. Do they get what they deserve? No. They get called to the very side of Christ to become his disciples. Distinctly unsatisfying to us in our day and age with the wisdom of our times, that bullies have to be taught a lesson. You can't be a milquetoast. You can't get pushed around. You've got to, like the hero, you've got to make your stand. And pick the hill you die on. So this Jesus, with these controversial sayings in this season of Epiphany, is really showing us who he is and what Jesus is about. And it is radically different from the people of his times and indeed from the people of our time. This is a spoiler alert, but at the end of the story, it will be Jesus whose cloak and whose shirt is stripped off of him. In the end, it will be Jesus that has his face slapped and his back scourged. And at the end, Jesus will have a rope tied about him and dragged off the extra mile outside the city to the place of execution, carrying not a 2x4, but the crossbeam of his cross, to offer his life as a gift to us, to secure for each one of us radical forgiveness, radical restoration. But his words, his teachings are so challenging and so foreign. Just this week, I heard the news droning on, and there was some sonorous senator from the state capitol talking about how these young people from the center cities, we need more judges and we need more jailers to see that they get what they have coming when they come out to take our catalytic converters or steal our cars. See what they get. Make sure they get what they have coming. The 2x4, that's the only way they're going to respect the law. As if poverty and destitution in the center of our cities could be ignored and there not be a consequence for that. It's not that the senator really cared about the kids. He just didn't want them bothering the people in his district. Poverty, destitution carry consequences in a loving world Christians are called to become servants of a new way of building up and lifting people up. And we are led in this by Jesus Christ. I heard another commentator, political guy, and he was looking for his opponent to be jailed up. Lock him up, lock her up. You can run an entire campaign on that. Make sure that person gets what they deserve. We've turned our political discourse into WrestleMania language. All fake, all to get emotion fired up, to make sure people get what they deserve. How's that working out? And then last night, I didn't know whether I was going to wake up this morning to find a Russian invasion of Ukraine. Halfway praying as I fell asleep, God protect those people. And I hope that guy gets what he deserves. Very Christian sentiments, huh? So I think there's something reflexive that goes on within us, that we have acculturated and been incorporated into the hero epic. It comes really natural. And Jesus is simply offering us a different point of view. Become children of the Most High, radically forgiving, radically serving. It's God's position to judge. And even the name Jesus says, God is salvation. God will save. We are not called upon to judge. We are called to serve. And so as we embrace that position, we see the challenges of Christian life. But it beats reaching for a 2x4 every time we get challenged. Amen.